Hey yo everybody, Haku here with my review of yesterday's new One Piece chapter, and that is One Piece 821. And the chapter name was Understood, and man, it was exciting. I was very much into it, as you could probably see in the live reaction. And yeah, it was just a lot of enjoyable stuff, and especially I liked that theory confirmed, guys. Zou is capable of combat. Zou is battle ready, and it follows orders. So even further in theories that I've made, it could be used in the future as an ally ship for the Minks. The Minks use it sort of as a ship, so they could just command it via Momonosuke to go here and there. That'd be really cool. But let's get into this, break it down part by part and what I thought about that. Then I'll give some more overall thoughts and wrap it up with a score. Now, I did think that this chapter seemed a little short on first reading, but that was mostly because it was like art action panels that looked amazing. So I can't really say that that's a bad thing or that it takes away from anything, because it's like it's still the same length. It's just a different sort of good thing. So I can't really say that that was any bad, because of course different people may prefer one or the other, and I think it's nice giving us a nice mix here and there, because we've had a few chapters lately that were mostly content and talking panels, not the action panels, so we haven't seen very many of those, even though the art really has still been on point lately. Now, maybe even one of my favorite parts of this chapter was that freaking color spread. That was so good looking. Like, holy crap, that looked really awesome. Brook looked so cool in it. And I absolutely love that Carrot, looking sexy by the way there, Carrot and Pedro were with the Straw Hats that are going to Whole Cake Island. So I am hoping that they will be joining them in going there in the actual story. I really think that'll be cool if Pedro and Carrot go with Luffy's group to Whole Cake to save Sanji. That'll be pretty friggin' awesome. Now we start out with the earthquake. I mean, it's not really an earthquake, but it would have that effect to a country on an elephant's back. But the earthquake is knocking down some buildings. Shit's going crazy. And I guess, what is it? Shit's going crazy with that. And then like Momo and Luffy both, they're hearing the voice. They're hearing Zou's voice. And we find out Jack's crew, they're focusing their fire on one spot on its leg to take it down so they can get near the head and finish it off. And man, Jack is so brutal. Jack is amazing. I think he was one of the best written characters that we've had in One Piece in a while. He was really cool. I really enjoyed him. But I'll get more into what I was going to say a little bit later in this review. First, I wanted to say they're trying to take Zou down, and flashing back to Pedro, I think it is Pedro that says it. He tells about how when Roger and Lord Odin were there, it is said that they also heard the voice and they couldn't communicate back with it. But with our group, we didn't have that problem because Momonosuke could see through Zou's eyes. Rinnegan confirmed. And with Momo seeing through Zou's eyes, not Jack's, he's able to locate and see that Jack is attacking the elephant. And so during that is when Momonosuke is like relaying back everything that Zou is thinking or saying, and he says that Zou was sentenced for a crime it committed to wander for an eternity, and it can't do anything except just wander, walking forward or whatever. I guess it has to make a turn eventually, but it can't do anything but wander around until it's given a command. But given that even Roger and Odin couldn't talk to it, maybe Momonosuke has some sort of special ability, or maybe there's more that we're not finding. There's always more we're not finding out with Oda, so I think that we may be getting a little bit more on why Momonosuke can converse with Zou later on. So pretty much the island-sized trunk just wipes out all of Jack's fleet, and there was nothing he could do. Jack is a really cool and strong character, but there was nothing they could do but get taken down there. I'm hoping that they will still play a part later on, but it seems like what I thought was true of Weevil and what I was saying about Weevil in my other video is actually true of Jack, where he's just not as important as we always theorize that all these characters have all these deeper connections, and sometimes they just don't. And I think that was true of Jack, because as we see, when his mask was taken off, he sadly did not have the Whitebeard chin. In fact, he had like what looked like pretty much no chin, and he had these sharp teeth. It was really odd. So not what I expected him to look like, and maybe Jack was a billion-berry scrub lord all along. One thing I found weird with the Jack stuff is Jin Rummy from his crew seemed like she was very upset and off-put by his savagery. So I think there's a potential that she may like wash up at the Thousand Sunny, or they find her floating and capture her, and maybe she turns good and helps them out, or maybe not totally turns good, but gives them information at least, maybe on how Jack was tracking Zoe, because we know from Nekomamushi that they still want to figure out how Jack was tracking Zoe. So pretty much Beriete reports that Jack's fleet was taken out, and Luffy says he's ready to leave. And that's it for that. Hopefully we pick up next week, maybe with Luffy and his group forming up and leaving on the Sunny. And of course it'll be a lot more complex and deep than that, but that is our basic overarching thing, because I don't think we're going to actually get Kaido or Kid's Alliance next week. This chapter ended on Appu, and he said the Apapapapa thing, and the Dendenmushi looked exactly like Appu, so it's gotta be him. He was reporting to Kaido that they had lost communication with Jack. So that leaves us with, I think, kind of two glaring options here. The first of which just being that Kid's Alliance joined up with Kaido after Kaido landed at that base, and that's a complete possibility. The second of which, kind of the least likely by far in my opinion, would be that Appu was betraying Kid's Alliance all along, and now he was really working for Kaido the whole time. But one thing I do like about that, I like a lot more than Kid's Alliance just joining up with Kaido, is it opens up a possibility for Kid to join Luffy and Law's alliance. And I would absolutely love, like, just a rekindling of the pre-time skip Luffy, Law, and Kid working together. That would be really, really cool. So, man, in my wildest dreams, I would hope that Kid could join that alliance. But I think, honestly, it's more likely that Kid's alliance joined up with Kaido. And that could mean that potentially in the future, Drake, like a lot of people have guessed, and like, again, I've hoped, if not Kid, Drake would be great to join Luffy and Law's alliance. And we've seen Drake having a shared past, sort of, with Law. So that shared past kind of makes him likely too, in my opinion. There are a lot of things I like about Drake personally, so personally I really hope he makes it into the alliance. But story-wise, I think Kid going into Luffy's alliance would be a lot cooler. Now, that got a bit off topic, but pretty much with this chapter, I really can't complain about much. The art was amazing. The content was definitely there. It is a little bit short because it's when you're reading, you kind of just see the one big action panel and you're like, oh, that's really cool looking. And then you move on. So it's kind of it was kind of a quick one to get through, but I did like it in pretty much every way. It's definitely not perfect, definitely not the best, but it's like one of those things where there's not really any specific flaws. It's good all around. It's just it doesn't stand up to the good that some chapters have been. So for its great content and the new information we got, and of course the amazing spreads that we got, the big huge full page panels, and the color spread that's amazing, I'll give it 9 wandering elephants out of 10. I think that later on, looking back on this chapter, I may think differently about it. I may think that, okay, maybe it's not exciting enough for the 9, or Maybe I just wasn't into it enough at the in this moment, and later on I'm like, this was really good, how would I not give it a 10? But for right now, I think 9 out of 10 is the fairest thing I could rate this. So I thank you all so much for watching. Like if you did like it. Comment down there, tell me what you thought of the chapter and what you thought of my thoughts on it. Subscribe for more One Piece, Tower of God, The Walking Dead, and a bunch more stuff. And follow on Twitter for updates on when I'm posting a video or if anything needs to be pushed back. I'll see you all next time.